Hey everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Folks, today I talk about mandates again. I know I don't always want to talk about mandates, but I feel very strong about them. I feel really strong about how the just the science and the rhetoric and the talking just around vaccines and our privacy. It's getting to me, and I just need to talk again. That's what I do. That's what I'm here. Thanks for listening. Fatso Radio. Thanks for watching. Volpe Martial Arts. Check it out. VolpeMartialArts.com. I love y'all. Please, Lily, take it away. Fatso Radio.
Fatso, the really good podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Check out VolpeMartialArts.com for more details, but it's KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. Check them out. My brother Adam, Volpe, Sifu Adam, gives you his passion, gives you his lifelong experience. Check it out, VolpeMartialArts.com. Okay, folks, we're going to get right into it tonight. Episode number 139. Wow. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your views, your shares, your comments. If it's your first time watching, if it's your first time listening, hello, thank you. If you're not listening, if you're not listening, well, you won't hear this, but if you're not viewing and you're listening only, I'm wearing this beautifully bright green shirt today. Doesn't matter. Matches one of the flags or many of the flags back there in my background. But welcome to Fatso Radio, everybody. Normally, Fatso Radio is talking about diet only, or for, I guess, the first bit of its life was primarily around diet because that's what I was just obsessed with. My obsessions grow in many, many areas, or my obsessions kind of are uncovered to me and maybe uncovered to the world after the weeks and after the months. Sorry, I'm not, I kind of poked myself in the eye, so maybe this eye is a little red. Sorry, maybe this eye's red too. I don't know, whatever, flip. But yeah, so most of my episodes, right, have been around diet and nutrition and losing weight. And if you are losing weight, whether if you're trying to lose weight or not, but the ketogenic diet, a high fat, very low carbohydrate diet, or even now a carnivore diet, which I'm more on now. It's also around other things, and in that and in between and everywhere, I kind of just inject my opinion and my strong opinions, of course, and sometimes controversial opinions, but I don't have a problem with my opinions being controversial, of course, right? And like nobody should, I think, or I don't have a problem with people finding them controversial, but I do want and expect, respect, and I give people respect on their opinions as well. But I want to encourage people to kind of look at it from different angles, because that's what really got me to change my mind on a lot of things in life. And as life goes on, I have changed my mind quite a ways, on certain things. And I just think that I know that it's hard sometimes to do, because it's scary to kind of think one way about something, or just not only think one way, but just kind of do the way you do it, and it's right because that's what your parents did, or that's what you're taught, or that's what you learned in school, or whatever the case may be, or even that's what maybe felt right because you just knew it was right. But then you're seeing things kind of unfold as you get older, or as you see them unfold either in the government or the media, or in the during health crisis, or whatever it is. It just makes you, or maybe you go through a health crisis. I think that's the most common denominator, the common cofactor that I have with a lot of people that are kind of swimming against the stream, right, or going against the grain, or whatever the phrase is that, like, for a lot of people, if they've gone through something life-changing, whether it's a weight loss or a medical issue, or whether they're combined or one of the other, oftentimes they are combined, but it doesn't make them right, it doesn't make me right, it doesn't make my opinions right, but it makes your opinions and everybody's opinions valid. But oftentimes it's us that are the voice, right? We want the microphone. I don't want the microphone because I want attention. I want the microphone because I have enough energy and passion about this to speak on it. Like this is why I'm convinced, I'm so convinced, I should say, that, and I'm so driven by this. That's why I want to talk about it. So again, usually about the high fat diet, which does me well. Every time I go off it, I kick myself in the butt. Every time I go off my not strictest, but moderately strict carnivore diet, which is basically meat. The odd time I'll have some berries. That's my perfect diet for me. Meat, any kind of meat, mostly beef, but any kind of meat, butter, and maybe a little bit of berries, because I just like berries. Not that they really do much from having a handful, I guess, but basically meat, and I do well, like liver and all that stuff. But like life, you know, you're surrounded by it. You're surrounded by it. Yes, people say we just have to have willpower. The other people say, oh, you don't need willpower, you just have to balance, whatever. Okay, this episode is not really about that. This episode, I really want to talk about mandates. And I know if you've listened to me before, and if you've listened to me before and you don't agree with anything I'm saying, you're probably not going to keep on listening to me unless you just want to have one of those hate podcasts or hate YouTube channels where you like to shit on them and leave comments and everything and shit on me. Go ahead. All 4 listeners can't be wrong. I want to talk about mandates specifically. Okay. So we all choose our own choices, right? Or we all should choose our own choices. That's kind of a given in life. Like you have free will, right? That's what free life is. That's what free will is. Whether you're religious or not, most people believe in free will. Even if you believe in kind of like a deterministic viewpoint where the actions of your life kind of determine where you end up, that's cool. I understand that, but you still have free will. You still have free will in the essence or the idea, not in the Sam Harris kind of idea. Sam Harris talks about that, like, you know, choices that you make through life put you in certain patterns, and there's a lot of truth to that. I think a lot of like knowledge in that, but I think free will and what I'm talking about is like you have the choice to do this right now or this right now, okay? And that's what we have. We have that free choice. So if the idea that Sam Harris, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Sam Harris, I'm sure many people are, but again, my millions of listeners, I don't know, but Sam Harris is the idea. If it can be applied here, is thinking that, well, I don't have free will. These are just we're predetermined, kind of we're our destiny. Then why am I this way, or why do I feel this way about mandates? Nonetheless, we do have free choice. We have free will under the law. Under any religious text will tell you you have free will, right? So that's what's in jeopardy. I really do believe that's in jeopardy. It's not just just take this damn shot or do this or do that. If it was just take this damn shot, you wouldn't need a mandate. I really believe that, and I think that people need to really look at that. They wouldn't need a mandate. You wouldn't need a passport. They wouldn't absolutely plan on limiting access to certain areas and certain parts of the economy and certain parts of travel and all this stuff without it. So it's not like a temporary thing. And if it is a temporary thing, they're going to spend all this money. They're going to do all this work worldwide or statewide or countrywide or wherever is doing it to then just get rid of it next year and say, oh, well, the pandemic's over. First of all, when is the pandemic going to be over? I think the pandemic's, I'm not a doctor. Good time to remind everybody. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not claiming to be a doctor. And I'm not giving you medical advice, right? I'm just asking you to think, and I'm telling you, showing you what I think. So where was I? Yeah. So we have consequences for our actions, folks. We have consequences for all of our actions. And that's in jeopardy. It really is in jeopardy because where does it go next? Like I was saying, where does it go next? If you're okay with mandates for vaccines, I get for a lot of people's case that, or I get why a lot of people are okay with it. Okay, we need this vaccine because there are people dying from this. Okay, I don't know if you can even consider it a lot of people dying, but that's a strange word to say, a lot versus it's relative to whatever you're thinking. It's comparable to whatever. If you compare it to a trillion people, well, yes, of course, it's not a lot or it's nothing. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just where this goes, and it can only go worse from here. Because if the mandates if the vaccines don't go away, not even about the vaccines yet. If Corona doesn't go away, if COVID-19 becomes COVID-22 or COVID-23 and doesn't change its name, of course, because they would never be so blatant as to just give it a software upgrade every year. It wouldn't do that. But if and again, I'm not saying this is not real. I'm saying it's not proportionate. The response is not proportionate to what the threat is. I really don't think so. I'm not saying the social distancing is not good. I'm not saying the masking is not good. I'm not saying to do masks or gloves, which nobody used their gloves friggin' correctly. Let me tell you, I'm not saying any of that doesn't work. What I'm saying is that vaccine mandates should not be the case, and they probably, well, they're clearly not working unless what's the goal? That's the other thing. The goalpost is moving, right, folks? I think they said 80%. I don't know. Apparently Israel has 80% vaccination doesn't really seem to be the greatest thing in the world. Not that it's bad, but it's like, it's not saving anybody. It seems like it's not saving anybody. Sorry. It's not the game changer that they said it would be. It's not getting us out of this pandemic they said it would be. If we're always going to have in Canada, if we're always going to have 20,000 people a year that die from COVID, I'm not saying that's great. Or I said, if they're going to have it 2 years in a row, well, then we need to we need to work on it better. If this vaccine is in the case, if this vaccine is what we're using, and we're still losing people. We're not just losing unvaccinated people. That's not the case. It can't be. It's just not the case, right? And if that was the case, then there'd be no more unvaccinated people eventually. It would just be vaccinated people. We would all die. We would thin the herd if that's the case. That's not the case. This is not the biggest humanitarian move the government's ever done. Forcing vaccines, it's not the biggest humanitarian move the government's ever done. Let's just be honest. It's not. It's the biggest power move I've ever seen them be attempted. It's completely the biggest power move in my lifetime. So, okay. We have free choice, free will. We used to. Okay. I think we're so used to living in fear, though, that the people who are deciding not to take it, not even not to take the vaccine, but the people who are deciding not to live in fear, I think that's freaking a lot of people out. I think it freaks a lot of people out. It freaks a lot of people out in their family, of course, but it freaks a lot of people out in the public thinking, holy cow, are these people that reckless? And the reality is that I think a lot of people are just living in fear for a long time. And I've said this before, but again, I wasn't on death's door. I'm not on death's door, knock on wood. And I wasn't really sick, and I haven't gone through anything terribly wrong, but I've been scared. I've been terribly scared of a medical condition. I've been terribly depressed about a medical condition and about the possibilities and all that stuff. But I think that people are afraid. I think that there's a bunch of subsets of people out there that are not afraid of this. I really do think so. And I don't understand the reasoning completely, but I know that there are some common factors about people with the people that aren't afraid. There's some people that are religious and they're not afraid about this, or they're not afraid of either COVID or the vaccine, and because of that, they're maybe choosing not to take the vaccine. Some people are religious. Some people have medical histories that makes them afraid of the vaccine, right? Some people have medical histories. I mean, there are some people, of course, that have medical histories make them afraid of COVID, and those people take the vaccines. But there are also people that have had medical history that makes them afraid of the vaccine because they're not sure what a new drug would do with their illness or their condition. And that's completely fair. If you don't think that's fair, you're not being sensible. You're not, because how could anybody be expected to completely trust a brand new drug, not meant for their condition, but being forced or basically forced on them, even though they have a condition, that this condition wasn't considered when they made this vaccine? It probably couldn't have been, let's be honest, right? So those people, me, everybody else included, whoever wants to be included with this, hey, these are the days where we can identify as anything. I'm not trying to be completely an ass about that, but honestly, like, the buck stops when we're talking about really freedoms. What's really free? Like, we can choose some really big things in our life, really big things like changing apparently your identity, apparently gender. I mean, I'm not against any of that, but I'm saying, but you can't choose this. It's crazy. It's crazy. To me, it's crazy. So for whatever reason, if someone doesn't want any medical treatment normally, like, that's okay. And if someone doesn't want typical medical treatment, and I know it's people say, oh, it's not contagious, whatever, but some things are, like, people just aren't treated this way in general. And the other thing is, where's our medical privacy in all of this? I don't understand our medical privacy and the security of that privacy. Like it's two things. I got our privacy, right? Or sorry, our medical privacy, and then how secure is that medical privacy? Who's going to get it, and when are they going to get it, and when are they allowed to get it, right? So, like, I'm not going to get into it too much, but like, maybe I'll put a link or something in there. But I mean, I know a little bit about that, right? I mean, I have a little bit of, I have a diploma in law and security. I have a diploma in medical lab technician. So, we learn about that stuff, right? They're not related fields, of course, but different times in life, different times to go to school. But like, honestly, I think it's crazy how we're just expected, absolutely expected to give up this medical information willy-nilly, like it's no big deal. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Please correct me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm not completely wrong. Please tell me if I'm wrong. If there should be privacy about this, and why is there not privacy? I don't understand. So also, where's the inclusion? Where's the inclusion of, we need to love everybody, we need to be kind? There's no kindness. There's no kindness at all I see towards the unvaccinated. It's not like I'm trying to be unkind to you. If you happen to be vaccinated, who is the person who is against it, and maybe who's the person who's shitting on me, you may not be. You may just be on my side. Great. Or just be, you may be empathetic at least to me, and you know, but we're not trying to do that, right? I'm not trying to do that at all. So normally, like I said, the privacy is there, the security is there. There's a bunch of acts in there, the HIPAA Act, there's or PHIPAA Act, sorry, I think it's called PHIPAA. Anyway, there's the Privacy of Health and Information Security Act, basically policy, and it's not, it means that your privacy is allowed. Your security, privacy, your medical privacy is allowed. And the other things, like, so where's the inclusion of people that are unvaxxed, and the kindness? And it's totally okay to shame people for being unvaxxed. It's totally okay to be shamed for being unvaxxed, and I understand that, and then making it basically impossible to live as free as you did before if you're unvaxxed. So not only is it shaming wrong, because we've gone way past shaming. We were like super touchy bubble world where nothing was wrong, I guess. So the only thing we could shit on is like the stuff that people were calling snowflakes. Where are the snowflakes now? I don't see any snowflakes anymore. Now it's just, you're either vaxxed or you're not vaxxed. If you're not vaxxed, what are you, idiot? What are you, a knuckle dragger if you're not vaxxed? I don't understand. It's like, oh, the world changed so fast, though. That's the problem. It's changing so fast, so much so fast. So, and just to add to that, never in my life have I had, or have I heard of people in their jobs and coworkers among coworkers asking each other, just bang right out, so are you vaxxed? So did you take the shot? Did you get it? Did you get it? What was your arm like? Did you swell up? Your balls hurt? It was true, like Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend. Like, I know it might be funny, the story of her cousin's friend's balls swell up after the vaccine shot, regardless if it's true or not. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't care if it's true or not. But if it's a side effect, great. Not great, sorry. If it's a side effect, that should be recorded, and it should be documented and reported in the VAERS system, and all that stuff. But it's like everybody's talking about all this stuff, and it's okay. It's okay to say, hey, are you vaccinated? Okay. Well, are you, I don't know. Like, I can't even think right now on the spot, but I have come to an answer, though, where it's like, so this is what I'm going to say from now on. When someone asks me if I'm vaccinated, I'm going to say I have cancer. Like, and it's not a shit on people that have cancer at all. And I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to make light of people that are sick or dying or anything of that, because I've never would do that. I have the most empathy for and compassion and sympathy for people with cancer that are struggling with cancer. I'm fortunate. I'm completely fortunate. I say that every day. I thank my lucky stars, and I thank God, or any whatever I think. But it's like, what else do you want to know? What else do you want to know? Do you want to know that I'm diabetic? No, you don't care if I'm diabetic, because I'm not going to catch whatever I have. Okay. You don't care if I have cancer, because I'm not going to catch my cancer. Okay. What can you catch? You can probably catch other respiratory disease, I guess. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head, but it's not just about what you can catch, I guess. It's just about, I don't know, it's about common respect, I guess, for people. And it's that privacy. We're having less and less privacy. And this is one of the reasons why I think it's such a danger, is that this is helping to erode our privacy even more, even further and further, and even faster, because what's next, right? Then what's next? I don't understand, because we know what's next. It's going to get crazy. It's all about control. It's like, It's all about control. It really is. The next thing is going to be basically the social credit score. It's going to be a social credit score if this goes on. If people keep on either supporting this or being silent about this, because being silent, I don't want to say being silent is just like supporting it. No, if you're an advocate for it and you're saying get vaccinated, you're an asshole. Okay, well, you're an advocate for it. You're an asshole, by the way, if you say that, because you shouldn't say that to anybody about anything. But if you are not saying anything at all and you're going along with it, I understand where you're going to be from, or I can stand where you could be coming from, because you may not be sure, you might not really care enough. You may say, well, I don't really care that much about that guy, but at the same time, maybe you may not be worried about COVID as much as other people are. So I get that, but it's all about control. It's all about this, and I really do think it's going to go to this social credit score. China has it, and Trudeau seems to be a huge fan of China, which I want to point out too, because not because the CBC is knocking down my door. Oh, actually, Paul, we'll talk about you, Paul. I just want to point out, people are like, anytime someone says anything against China and the government, the other side of the government or whatever, the opposition will come out and say, it's racist and you can't be racist. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. Saying something against the parliament or government in Italy doesn't mean you're against Italians. People shit on the Italian government all the time. All the time. You can shit on the Chinese government all the time you want. It doesn't mean you're against Chinese people. Shut the hell up about that. That's ridiculous. Chinese people in Canada and in the United States and all over the world shit on the Chinese government as well. That's just what happens. I'm not saying they're terribly wrong. They might be terribly wrong. You may say they're terribly wrong, but it's not racist to shit on the Chinese government. It's certainly not racist to shit on them as far as being criticizing them, whether the vaccine or not the vaccine, sorry, but the virus or anything. The fact that they're in training with us, military with us, and they've had scientists in our lab, and there's been controversy about that. There's rules broken and all kinds of shit going on. That's where I think it's going. I don't think it's going there necessarily. Well, I'm worried it's going to go there, and I think that's why I'm fighting it. That's what that thing is. So let's think about what we're doing. Okay, let's really think about this. What are we doing? We need a passport right now. You need to show that you've been you need to show that you've been, excuse me, you need to show that you've been up to code vaxxed, whatever that means. Whatever the recent vaccination requirement is, or whatever the recent shot requirement is, if it's double in a booster, if it's going to be double in 2 boosters, or maybe there's going to be a third. I think Pfizer has a third. I don't know what it's going to be called, whatever the case may be. But you need to have a passport to go in and sit down in a restaurant. I don't know why anybody is okay with this. I don't know why anybody's okay with this. Do you eat at restaurants every single day and sit down in a restaurant every single day? If you haven't in the last 18 months, but then now you think you want to, okay. Even if you do that, does that mean that you can't be around anybody who's unvaccinated? And if you can be around anybody who's unvaccinated and you're okay with that, say something, please. Please. And that's what I'm getting to now. We need your help. Please, if you're against these mandates and you're vaccinated, stand up and say something, please. Speak out and say that you're vaccinated. You're not against the vaccine, but you're against these bloody mandates. It's ridiculous. It's not fair. It's unjust. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense. We really need to help each other out in this case. We're a minority, a very, very small minority, and the government makes us seem like we're crazy. And for whatever reason people have to not get vaccinated. Like, I literally have one of my reasons is because I currently have cancer. But my cancer doctor thinks I should get vaccinated. My cancer surgeon, if I asked him, would probably say, of course, get vaccinated. Neither of them are vaccine specialists. They're not. They're not the vaccine specialists. So, but they think that it's okay. And they've been told that it's okay, and that's it. Showing that it's okay. It's most of the efficacy. The studies they cite they shows the most efficacy because the studies they started are the same ones that Fauci cites and the same ones that Fauci funds and all this bullshit, or the drug companies fund that the vaccines are effective and all this stuff. But the bottom line is, you may not agree with me though. You may not agree, and this is what I want your help with. If you agree with me, you're already on my side. I get you. You're already on team. Go fight. Fuck everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But you're already on the side of, hey, this is not fair. We need to speak up. But if you already have the vaccine and you're not on my side, but you agree with our personal freedom, and this is coming from the heart, please, our personal freedom to choose the path of our life. This is our life. You get one life, right? And I'm not taking away your life by making my choice for my life, right? I'm not right beside you. You don't know 99.999% of the unvaccinated people. You'll never know 99.999% of the unvaccinated people. And I know that's not the point that it's a numbers thing. Yes, I know the point, but it's so few and fair and few, it's just so few people, and it is such a few risk. Plus, coupled with the idea that they said, the people who told you that it's important to be vaccinated also told you that once we had a certain amount of people, that would be enough. And that, so 80% and 75% or whatever the case may be, coupled with natural immunity, we will be okay. We would have herd immunity. So natural immunity, people that got it, or people have got sick and recovered, or people just got it and didn't even get sick. That happens, folks. That happens so many times that it will never, ever get reported. Let's think about that for a second. You'll never hear a report about how many people in the United States or Canada, maybe if you dig for it, I guess, but you never hear it on the mainstream news. You'll never hear it on any big news. You'll never hear how many people had COVID but didn't have any symptoms. Why? Because they don't test you, right? And why should you be tested? If you have anything that's considered a viral, seasonal, maybe a cold like nasal, upper respiratory or lower respiratory virus, right? Like a coronavirus or like a rhinovirus, like a cold, basically, right? Or even a flu. If you're not sick, meaning if you're not showing symptoms that you're sick, if you're asymptomatic, right? Means no symptoms, then you're not sick. You're not sick. Your body's fought it off. Your body fights off a ton of things, and nobody ever talks about that. Some people talk about that. Some people get laughed off the stage when they talk about that. Some people that are educated in the field talk about it. Both sides. The only side that gets laughed off the stage is the people that are against it. It's funny, but if you're not sick, it doesn't mean you don't have any bacteria in you. You don't have any viruses in you. You don't have any pathogens in you, pathogenic creatures, not creatures, but like just anything that can hurt you, right? Doesn't mean you don't have a small, tiny bit of something that can be a disease if it does become to show symptoms. So, but with this, we test. So for this, we test because just in case you might have it. Asymptomatic testing is ridiculous in my opinion. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. Unless maybe one condition, in my opinion, unless I directly work with high risk and just high risk, highly vulnerable people in that field. And then I would say in that case, for sure. But I don't know. So we need your help. My thing, and this is the thing, is like people that, and I think I already said this again, and maybe I'll end this with this, but we are the minority. We need help. And just think of the logic with this for me, please. If you're vaccinated, there's 10 people that are vaccinated, let's say, right? 20 people that are vaccinated, let's say, and those people go home to their families, right? And there's 4 people in those families. It's a lot of people, right? It's a lot of people there. And so what's with that, 100? Yeah, 100. Maybe not. I don't know. The thing is, so those people are vaccinated, right? If someone's not vaccinated and those 20 people get all together, or 19 or whatever, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about non families. Simple sake, 20 people. one of those people are not vaccinated and another 19 people are vaccinated. If those 19 people that are vaccinated have COVID or contract COVID, but don't have symptoms, and let's remember, the vaccine is supposed to lower symptoms, lower the chances of symptoms, and basically reduce symptoms and reduce chance of hospitalization, which hospitalization is a symptom, of course, right? Your symptoms get so bad that you require hospitalization for life care. So if those 19 people are vaccinated, and then those 19 people can have COVID, those 19 people can pass it to each other, to their families, right? The same is true for that one person who's not vaccinated. He or she can be vaccinated, he or she can contract COVID. He or she can pass COVID on to the other 19 people, and the other 19 or in their families, or he cannot. Like, that's what people also need to realize. They need to see, I hope they can see or think of the other side of it. This can happen or it cannot. Like, life is not just the worst case scenario. Also, if the person who's not vaccinated is healthy and not showing symptoms of COVID, then what are you worrying about? What are you worried about? A, because he's probably not going to pass it to you, because he passes it to you from sneezing and spitting and breathing moistly, Monsieur Trudeau. I know he's watching. Oh yeah, he always watches. Right? If an unvaccinated person is not sick, they're not going to pass it. Just the same as if the vaccinated person is not sick, they're not going to pass it. But if the vaccinated person is sick, they can still pass it. So it sounds like the same. It sounds like the vaccine only protects you. And if that's the case, I think that's okay. I think that's 100% okay. But I think people need to, I hope people reconsider how they feel about this, because if it protects you mostly, right? Okay. But you're not really completely protected from other people. So how protected are you? Are you protected from yourself? I don't understand. But if you do find protection in it, I don't know where you find that protection. I'll be honest with you. I don't know where you find that protection. You may find that protection in protection against the unvaccinated. But if the unvaccinated are sick, medical science, well, at least today's medical science tells us that if the unvaccinated people are sick, well, actually all science will tell you that if anybody's sick and they're symptomatic, they're showing symptoms, right? Then you would see that they're sick. And in most cases, they would probably stay home and have a less chance of spreading it if they're responsible, right? So if you have a sniffle, if you have a cold, but if you're vaccinated and you're asymptomatic, you can still spread it. Just like if you're unvaccinated, you're asymptomatic. Like, I don't think the vaccine, I don't think the getting COVID from an unvaccinated person is more dangerous, is it? I don't think it is. If that's the case, then that's what they should be saying. I want Fauci to say that. Dr. Fauci at goyourself.com. Is it more dangerous to get COVID from an unvaccinated person? Like, is my COVID worse if I get it? Is my COVID worse if I give it to you if I'm unvaccinated, right? It's my own property. It's my own privacy. So I'm not telling you. I'm kidding. But I wonder, it's not, probably not. I don't know. In the virology that I took in school, not tons of it, but the stuff that I learned about, the immunology that I learned about in school, it's about like viral load, and it's about symptoms. And if you're asymptomatic, right, the lower your symptoms are, the less you're going to transmit it, means the less you're going to be sick, means the less of a threat you are. So why are you testing somebody? That's my beef. I have a bunch of beefs in life, folks, but one of my beefs is why do people test people that are unvaccinated when they don't really need to test them? They need to just exercise kind of responsible health choices, right? One last thing before I let you go, folks. I know it's not too long today, 30 minutes or so. Is ask for your help already? Yeah, ask for your help. Okay, good. What else? I guess that's it. thanks so much for listening to Fatso Radio. Thanks for your likes, your shares. Oh, yes, I know what I'm going to say. Paul, I want to talk to you. Paul Cachemillo, a shout out to you. I hope you're listening, Paul. Dude, my brother from another mother. I've known you forever. Sperm was our nickname. Skinny is our another nickname for each other. Paul, let's talk, man. I don't want to give it away too much yet. But anyway, everybody, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for your likes, your shares. Let me know what you think about all this. If you think I'm crazy, let me know. If you think I'm not right, because it's not, I don't think I'm right or wrong, but if you understand where I'm coming from, if you get it, and if you feel, I guess, for me or for anybody else, please help. Please help. I'm not asking for the medical system to help. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for you to put yourself at risk. I'm really not. I'm not asking you to put yourself at risk at all, because it's like the way I just explained it. Unless I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong on the science. I hate that term so much because it's been used in such a weird way that it's not the science. Anybody, I think, in my opinion, anybody who says the term the science isn't very scientifically thinking, because it's not just one and done. It's not, the science isn't settled on anything. But anyway, I need your help, please. People that know about science, people that know about medicine, people that are just free thinkers. There are people that I know that are even against this, right? Not against, sorry. People that I know that are kind of a little bit defending the vaccine mandates and a little bit defending the vaccines as a public policy, thinking that is the best thing forward. You know, a couple of people that I care a lot about, very smart people that I care a lot about, and that's why it's so meaningful to me, right? A couple of people that I care a lot about, and they're very smart, and I respect their opinion, but I don't think that they're seeing it in the same way that I am, right? I don't think that, I think that it's hard for people to see it in the same way, because it maybe appears selfish, and I hope they don't think it's selfish. If they do, I'm sorry. I don't think it's selfish of me, but I don't know. Like, when we're talking about mandates, I don't like mandates at all, for the other complete reason of the freedom, the freedom of person, the freedom of yourself to make your own choices. And if we are going to talk about mandates, for goodness sake, let's be real and talk about the laundry list of mandates that the government can put in a snap of the fingers that would change people's life overnight. It really would. All the millions and billions of dollars of junk food and shit food and products that are just unhealthy, anything from alcohol to booze to whatever you want to blame. You want to blame marijuana for something? Sure, blame marijuana. You want to blame alcohol for anything? You can definitely blame alcohol and marijuana and whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about those kind of mandates even. I'm talking about real, obvious mandates that have like zero absolute value in life. But they don't do that. They don't do that at all, because it's a free country. It was a free country until they made everybody so afraid using this pandemic. That's what I think. I don't think it's a made-up pandemic. I don't think it's a made-up deaths. I don't think that at all. I think a lot of people died. I think there was a bunch of reasons why they died. COVID is all the reasons. They all had to do with COVID. It's not, I'm not a conspiracy theorist and thinking that there's this mass extinction project going on. I think there's all kinds of fuckery that there's always is in government, that there's always is, but it's so in line and lockstep with the medical community. They've hijacked the medical community. They've hijacked everybody's fear, our fear controls, and they've cranked it up. And I think the people that aren't afraid, like I said before, freak people out, because they think that we're reckless, or they think that they're, I don't know. It's like they think that, oftentimes people will say, well, you must be afraid of the vaccine. No, we're going to take it. No, I'm not afraid of the vaccine. I'm not afraid of COVID or the vaccine. And that's not being, I don't know. I'm not, like, it's a personal decision. There's personal reasons in my life, right, where because of whatever reason I went, whatever. I don't want, I don't know. I think one of the many reasons that I think I may have even had COVID. One more thing I want to say before I go. I've said that a couple of times, but the last thing I want to say is, it's about control again. It's about money. It's about just pushing to get whatever they want. It's shoving this down our throat and getting us to be okay with whatever. I think that's what the Trudeau government likes to do. A lot of governments like to do that in power. It seems like the liberals today are doing that big time. here's something that you please answer me if you can. You can't answer this. You can't answer this unless you know something that I don't know. But why don't they test for COVID when you get a vaccine? Why isn't the two things? And then why isn't the vaccine passport an exemption of if you had COVID? If you've had COVID and you recovered from COVID, studies have shown, the same types of studies from the same types of universities that show the effectiveness of the vaccines, but studies have shown that the natural immunity that you gain from recovering from COVID is far better than the vaccines. Why don't they test the population and save a shitload of money that was already spent in panic, in fear? Sounds like an agenda, maybe not. But why don't they test? Every time you go there for a vaccine, why don't they test? Come back in a week with your test results. Okay, that doesn't cost that much money. Do you think a test costs more than a vaccine? I don't know. It shouldn't. Do you think the government can make it cost a lot less? Actually, there's probably more involved with a blood test. They can probably have a quick antigen, not an antigen, but a quick test for antibodies. I don't know. They probably can. So why don't they do that? First of all, why don't they ask anybody if you've had COVID? And then why don't they test? Because they don't care if you've had COVID. They want to give you a vaccine. It doesn't have to be poison. It doesn't have to hurt anybody or kill anybody. They want to give you something that makes you a repeat customer, a repeat control customer. Think of that. You don't have to think that vaccines are meant to hurt you, but you can think of them as a license. You should maybe think of them as a license that you've now let the government purchase with you, a leasing license maybe, to say that, hey, you got to re-up with us. It's just like another certification. It's like another driver's license. I get my vaccines up to date. Oh, great. We've never had to do that before, especially if it's for something that's like, this isn't polio, this isn't smallpox. So I don't give a shit if you want to compare it to that. Oh, right. No, this isn't those. Like the other respiratory viruses kind of wean off and evolve to a place where they're not pandemic anymore, like H1N1. Remember that, right? COVID or SARS, the first one. Remember that? It's not completely gone away, right? So we need more questions. We need more questions. We need more answers. And I think if the people that have gotten vaccinated, if you've received your vaccines, 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but you still think that this is bullshit, you still think that this needs to be talked about and evaluated and really understood more, then please help us. Please spread the word. Please stand up and whatever, just whatever. I don't know. If you're a manager, if you're a boss, if you're an owner, if you're a CEO, if you know somebody who does something to some whatever, we need to be fair again. We need to be kind again. We need to be like realistic and understand what really makes sense. Like, instead of just saying how many people are dying every day, let's say what's really happening here, right? Anyway, those are my questions for you. I love y'all. Peace. Thanks for listening. Friday night. What is this? October 1st, 2nd? I don't know. Whatever it is, it is. I love y'all. Peace. Have a great night. At the radio. Let's say bye to everybody. Bye. And we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
So get your butt and get in your chair.
Don't eat your nails and don't pull your hair.
We'll talk about chicken or talk about steak.
We'll talk about fat, for goodness sake.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.